Okay, Friday, 22nd of March 2024. So, travel changes you. So, here I am today, other side of England. Had a good, very interesting journey across the UK, across England technically, to this lovely little place in a nice little corner of England. So, travel changes you. You see more of the world, that's priceless. You see more cultures, people, places, how things work. You change, you grow, like here, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. When I had a road trip around Scotland in July 2021, 2,000 or so kilometres, all around Scotland, everywhere. From Glasgow and Edinburgh, all the way up to Donegal. After that experience, I felt much more resourceful. Like I was able to do more and be more creative and be more tenacious and ingenious, so to speak, or I was able to do more things easier and not be more self-reliant, basically. I found that every single time coming back from abroad, from traveling somewhere, I was entering a new chapter in life, doing and becoming a new person, a new man, so to speak. It's like stepping out the comfort zone and doing something amazing with life. Now, of course, we all have different standards of what's amazing, what's not so amazing, but I found that travel is good. You change, you grow. When I went to France in 2014-15, I saw how the supermarkets, how the pricing mechanisms work. These little devices and the price changes from a centralized computer or upstairs or wherever else. And it was like interesting concept. And then you think, well, why can't we have that here? Or thank goodness we have this and not that, or vice versa. So it broadens our horizons. We see more of the world and how it functions. That's priceless. Because the more we see, the more we witness, the more we can understand the world. The more we understand the world, the better we can act and do amazing and cool stuff. And at the same time, the easier we can see contradictions. Because I learned an interesting phrase today, that something like, from a distance it looks dangerous, from afar it looks dangerous. So, for example, in 2020, during a certain health issue, I went to a certain country, and the travel advice was like specific things, like police are dispersing crowds of large people, large gatherings, for whatever reason, for health reasons, let's say. So I was like, okay, interesting. Go there on the ground with my own eyes. That's not happening. That's not really true. People aren't really being dispersed when they're in large gatherings, whatever else. So you start to notice these contradictions in life where by going on the ground, you realize actually it's not that bad. It's completely different from what the media or the stereotype or the hysteria or whatever else or the perception is. Anything. It's different when you see it on the ground. Because I also learned an interesting word, I internalized an interesting word recently, quotidian, the day-to-day life. So things could be problematic here or there, but the quotidian life, the day-to-day life is pretty normal, it's pretty standard. You go to somewhere a little dangerous or has the perception of being dangerous, but I can guarantee you the quotidian life is pretty normal. People go about their day-to-day lives, buying things, doing stuff, moving on with life. And also at the same time, one thing I've realized is that no matter where you are in the world, there's going to be some neighborhoods in the capital city, for example, that are basically first world bubbles, that are beautiful, first world, very Western, high standard of living, high quality communities. Basically guaranteed. In the capital cities, yes. In the major cities, yes, of course. And I guess then it's also a case to be rich as well, because when you're rich, you can create that society, you can create that community, you can create what you want. You're not subject, you're not tied down, you have more options, you have more choices. And then as you understand the world more, you understand how people think and how they feel, how they act, how they behave, through travel, through exposure, through practice, you can better handle yourself. You can better create those scenarios. You know how to be cheerful. You can be cheerful like you. Here's like a non-existent idiom that it's made up. Cheerful like a I don't know, cheerful like a room full of Irishmen. Yeah, there's always a party in Ireland. Like in Latin America, there's always a party there. Yeah, cheers to that. So, by traveling, you see more of the world, you see more people, you witness more things, you grow as a person, and it's priceless experience. When I went to Fuerteventura, I forgot now, Fuerteventura, not Lanzarote, but one of the Tenerife. That's a Tenerife in September 2014. It started off good, things happened, okay, and then it ended on a bittersweet note. Not good, not bad, but it ended on an okay note in the end. And I remember coming back to the UK, and I felt like entering a new chapter in life. It's like moving away from the day-to-day life, the day-to-day struggles, the work, the day-to-day grind, the day-to-day effort. Going into a new scenario, doing different things, different places, different culture, climate, whatever, then going back to it with fresh eyes and fresh perspective. And that's what I felt. I remember distinctly as I got off the train and went back into England. I feel like a new chapter, new life. That's what it felt like. And also, when in July 2018, I remember flying back into England above the clouds, and I was in Spain. It was nice and sunny, and above the clouds, nice and sunny. I thought, wow, this is nice. We go through the clouds, we go back into England. It was like a grey filter. Everything was just grey, and it felt different. I realised then that if your ambition's too big, you're in the wrong place. And that's the kind of lessons that you only really pick up and learn by going places and doing things and going to new places in the world. Now you could say that's slow and inefficient versus, say, reading or watching podcasts or whatever else. Is less risky, less effort, less energy needed, and you learn just as much. Kind of, but you don't necessarily absorb as much. There's an interesting thing called the cone of learning, where the more active the form of learning is, the more you retain, the more you remember. So by going to these places and doing amazing things, you remember more of the world, you understand more, you with the awareness and observation, you can see more, your perception of life changes. And even your gratitude, come to think of it. I remember seeing some neighborhoods in Mexico and think, well, I'm a first world man. I want to maintain that high standard of living. Yeah, okay, interesting. I do not want that. So, it's like pushing me extra harder to avoid that and move to something bigger and better and higher quality in life. And those are the kind of lessons you only experience by going places. Likewise, a lot of these vlogs out there, travel vlogs, I've come to subtly realise from my experience in Mexico, is that they tend to touch the surface. This is survivorship bias, really. It's their opinion, what worked for them. Because I noticed that when I went to Mexico, there was a few things I noticed that these travel vlogs did not talk about, didn't mention at all. Mainly, for example, everything's got a price in Mexico. Information, even that, they want some money. They want something for it. I was in a hotel in Acapulco. I said, how much is this beer? And he goes, oh, it's free. It's free, just my tip. Okay, and then I gave him, what was it, 10 pesos. And I was thinking in my mind, 10 pesos, 10 pounds, $10, that sounds like a lot of money. Really wasn't much, 50 pence. Yeah, but that's interesting. Those kind of lessons you only realise by doing. Because there's a nice little saying that I kind of like. I like because it's poignant, but it's not very efficient. It's you learn by doing, which is true. You learn by just doing, setting a target for yourself and just go for it. So for example, when I turned 29, I had the goal, before turning 30, to go to every corner of the UK. I'm really glad I did that. I had been to the furthest south and the furthest north. This is August 22, 23. So August 22. I'd been to the furthest south in September 2014. Been to the furthest north, July 2021 in Scotland. I hadn't yet been to the furthest west or east. And also I had been to the highest as well, June 2022, Ben Nevis. I set myself the goal of go to every corner of the UK. And then 2 weeks later, I was in the furthest east. And then come November, I was in the furthest west. Now, of course, not the grandest of achievement, but that's pretty unique. You know, I can boast, I've been to the furthest west, east, north and south, and the highest and lowest point. Because by chance, the lowest point in the UK was just south of Peterborough, on the way to Norwich, on the way to furthest east in the UK. Yeah, nice. Helm Post, that's it. I think 10 metres or 6 metres below sea level, something to that effect. So that's pretty cool. It gives you a boasting ability to say, I've been here, I've been there, I've done this, I've done that, I've seen this, I've seen that. Yeah, I feel quite proud of myself that I've climbed the highest mountain in the UK. Yes, and that's travel, because it's part of the journey. Because you see, when I had the idea to go to climb Ben Nevis in June 22, when I did it in the end, the idea was suggested that it could be done in like 2 days. You know, drive there Saturday morning, you know, Saturday like 1 a.m, whatever, climb it and drive all the way back, to that effect. And I thought, yeah, that's very literal. You're ticking the box, you're climbing the mountain, but it's not the same, because half of the joy, the experience, the life experience is the process, the build up to it. You know, taking my time going to Glasgow, staying in Glasgow for 2-3 nights, then taking my time going to Fort William, then taking my time to climb the mountain, then enjoying the atmosphere, the place, the town for a day or two afterwards, then taking my time coming back, and on the way seeing this, going there, doing this, doing that, whatever else. That's all part of the adventure. You grow from it. Just to go for it in this context, just climb the mountain was just too literal, too ticking the box, which is fine, it works for the achievement, but we can do more than that. That's more, you know, let's do more. Let's do cool things as well. Let's do amazing stuff. And that comes with traveling. And when I was in Poland, December 2023, I'm glad I went to Poznan and Białystok, because a lot of Polish people say that Białystok is not very exciting, but I wanted to see it for my own eyes. That's the key. This goes back to what I said earlier, where you realise that like a mismatch of perception and reality, or stereotype and reality. When you see it for yourself, you realise that, well, people are generally right, people are generally wrong, or it's not that bad. See it for yourself. That's something I picked up a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I guess, 3 odd years ago, where to see it for yourself. Because you could argue that everything is hearsay, everything is just second-hand accounts, but to see it for yourself, that's powerful, powerful, powerful. Because it's your own experiences then. You interpret things in ways that other people didn't or couldn't or shouldn't or whatever. Like with Mexico, and everything's got a price tag. As far as I can tell, the vlogs didn't really talk about that. Everything's got a price, but I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah. So it's powerful. You just grow. You just grow. You just become a stronger, wiser, faster, smarter individual. And that's priceless. How can you put a price tag on? How can you put a price tag on life experience? Life experience. You know, experience in a game. How can you put a price tag on that? There are ways, quant analysis and quantifiable methods, by all means, but the pure joy, the pure character building experience, because that's one thing I want to get as much as I can of life. Character building experiences, doing more stuff, going and doing and being and seeing. And this is why I'm planning the next few weeks to go traveling a lot, climb 3 more mountains, and then I can say to myself, like, you know, with confidence and even more pride and even more confidence, even more self-esteem, so to speak, that I've climbed every mountain in the UK, all the tallest ones. That's pretty cool. That's really, really unique. Of course, mountains, you know, not everyone has got the same priorities and values, which is an interesting topic for another video, but the point still stands. That's really cool, I think. That's why I'm doing it, otherwise I wouldn't do it, see what I mean? So, you know, go out there, do cool stuff, see cool things, travel, expand the comfort zone, life, you know, live it. I was in Gran Canaria and I was talking to, I remember who, but it doesn't matter who, and this individual was quite old. And I remember she said, you know, live life. And, you know, she, you know, 80s, in her 80s. I have no regrets with travel, no regrets. Not to mention the stories you pick up along the way. You see things, you see stuff, you hear stuff. Stories. Again, it's just life. It's just, you've got more, you're more three-dimensional. You've got more to you when it comes to the stories and the pictures and the adventures. This is in part why I started this vlog, to record where I am in different parts of the world and share a useful lesson, share an interesting insight. Here I am. How cool is that? So just talking and sharing about things in unique, cool places. So that's life, isn't it? Yeah. So otherwise, no regrets. How cool is that? Otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.